My name's Andrew Faley, and I'm a music fan. I guess my history's in music, but I guess most of all I'm a dreamer. I signed with Parlophone Records in a band called The Pier, and we ended up going from weird kids in school to having front page of magazines, photo shoots, all sorts. It's a very surreal transition. You get swept away with just the amount of stuff that's going on. You can really fall into it very quickly, and you hit your stride because you're surrounded by people that are pushing you forward, giving you kind of direction, or curating you in the same way that you're creating yourselves. The transition from being in a band into being civilian, there's no one else to help you. It's tough. It's really tough. The dreams and ambition that you have in music, the freedom that you're chasing, there's none of that for normal day-to-day life. There's an amazing moment in that Metallica documentary a few years ago where I think it's Lars, the drummer's talking about who he is on tour, and then when he goes home, realizes he has no friends. One of the biggest problems in the music industry is with the mental health of people suddenly moving from one space into another, of having an entire support network and people there to help you and kind of guide you all the way through, to just being dropped into an abyss of nothing and not knowing who you are or where you are. It's tough enough learning to be someone new and be something in a band that other people want you to be. It's even harder losing it all. It's particularly poignant for me because we lost our drummer, and one of the main things that was really pressing on him was not knowing who he is in the real world. It took me losing one of my best friends and kind of music partner to realise that actually those support networks are out there, but they're incredibly difficult to find. I think something that you guys are doing that really resonates with me is trying to build a support network and kind of an ecosystem or an early stage kind of area for exactly this position, is providing people with situations and environments where you're going to discover other people that are like-minded in similar situations to do something new. It's needed. You've got a really interesting situation at the moment where 20, 30 years ago, you'd have brand new artists headlining festivals. It just seems every headliner of every single festival these days is exactly the same thing. We have the same big hitters that are kind of guaranteed to draw the crowds, but you don't have the new artists, the new blood coming through so much.
It would be Stormzy headlining Reading Festival because he's like the hottest thing right now.
Yeah.
It really shouldn't be the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're only there because of old people listening to Spotify.
Yeah. I think the metric side of it's an interesting one. Yeah, it is. Historically, it was always the record sales, the radio plays. I mean, I've worked with and helped develop quite a few acts now, but the one issue we hit every single time is when you're looking to get that Leeds or that Reading set that is really going to put you in front of a few thousand people that can really help kind of you to take the next step in your career. First question you get asked by every promoter is, how much enemy support have you got? How many streams are you doing? How many likes on Facebook? And these are still the same metrics, but I'm still not convinced they count for much. The other thing is, now that we're looking at, say, Spotify streams or kind of SoundCloud plays for how popular you are, it's not how popular you are or the artist is, it's how popular the song is. And the majority of that seems to rest on when and where the people are that are listening to it. I mean, just because I've hit 50,000 plays of a track on SoundCloud doesn't mean there's going to be even 5,000 people turn up to a show. I see a lot of record labels as almost like banks that will take a punt on you. I understand that a lot of kind of labels work on almost hedge fund tactics anyway, so knowing that that one artist that breaks will pay for the 10 that don't make it. Very few banks will actually offer you a loan on that sort of stuff. Very few will give you a straight advance of a big chunk of cash up front to do with as you see fit. But unfortunately, the artist pays for everything. It's very much a payday loan. Yeah, you take that chunk of cash up front and you don't see anything again until you recoup. And I know a lot of bands, I know one that's recouped, and they're the ones who did it themselves independently all the way through. There's new platforms these days. I think kind of cryptocurrency and what people like Ujo Music and kind of Imogen, people like this are championing. I think there are ways for this to open up a whole new independent platform for artists to do things themselves and be able to raise that. I mean, crowdfunding is kicking off for bands. Pledge Music's had quite a lot of success, but again, it still seems like a platform where you only sell something. It's almost like pre-sale campaigns. You still have to have everything in place. You still need to have the connections and the PR people, a bit of the radio support, the press support in place. You have to do everything yourself. It used to be that you had to be all singing, all dancing. Now you have to be all singing, all dancing. You have to have your head on coding and analytics. You have to have your head on absolutely everything. You need to be doing half of the PR yourself. You're never going to be able to fight the majors on that side. The best I think you could probably hope for is to build up such weight and kind of get the boulder moving so fast that a label then jumps on and can take you the next steps further. How many AI are going to be able to hold a house party and get all the mates round? And play the right song at the right time? I mean, I'm sure we'll hit a point in the next 10 years where everyone's kind of rigged up to biometric scanners. That's all feeding data in real time and the tempo's changing all in real time, but that's a business idea. Got any coders? I think there needs to be a line drawn very soon between creative output and art. I see art as if faith is the way that you internalise and understand kind of yourself and your own place in the world, science and mathematics the way that we define the world around us, I see art as the communication between the two. And that is something that AI is not particularly capable of doing until it has its own kind of sentient self, which is coming, I'm sure, but we're not there yet. So for the time being, I think no matter what, humans are mimetic creatures. We need something human-like to respond to. And particularly when it comes to live events, I think there will always be something that maybe we don't understand fully or we can't describe fully, but there is something inside us that responds better to that than anything that's computer generated. I think the most important thing about what the Rattle's currently doing is the fact that it's building not just a network and a community where you can interact with people in a similar way, but it's creating a platform and a space to genuinely develop yourself. The reason why my band held off for a while was because we had 20 years to write our first record. Creatively, we had an idea and a vision, and we knew what we liked and what we didn't like. And then as soon as you're left in a situation where you have 6-9 months to make a new record and try and work out what you want to do with things, you have no idea. Also, the people that you're surrounded by in this point are often pushing you in a direction that is either kind of financially or kind of businessly, is that a word? Rewarding for the people that you've been employing all the way through. I think the most important thing for me, and I think anyone who's kind of moving more into a startup space, is the fact that you're able to interact with people that are willing to help you without wanting something from you. The music industry, I think most entertainment industries, it's a treadmill. Once you're off the treadmill, someone else has jumped on. The startup world that I'm experiencing so far, I've just fallen in love with because people will actively want to help you because someone helped them. And no one can do the impossible on their own. You need support. If you want to change the world, you can either change your world, in which case you just change the way that you see the world, or you genuinely build something that will change other people's. For that, you have to embrace other people. Being in the right position, in the right place, at the right time, that's tough, and you need someone like the Rattle to actually curate these environments. I haven't found it anywhere else. people like me that want to smash everything apart and start from scratch and build it stronger and better. You either fall in line with other people or you build something ground up, but you need friends.
Yeah. So I think that's what punk, grime, flower power, that's what it was all about. It was
Us v the world, but
Yeah.
us, not me versus the world.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And seeing as most music is informed by technology, I mean, a musical instrument is just a piece of technology, whether it's bass guitar or a copy of Ableton. If you're able to work with these people and technologists to actually create music or platforms for it, yeah, it's important. It's the next step.